Bore da chi gyd, a croeso I Hubberston Gwyrdd. Good morning everybody and welcome to Hubberston Green. My name is Paul Robinson and I want to tell you about the wonderful project that we've been doing over the last 6 to 12 months to make Hubberston Green a valuable place for nature and also the hub for our community to enjoy in the centre of the village and overlooked by our wonderful Church of St David in Hubberston Green. Our story started in 2024 when we submitted an application to the National Heritage Lottery under their Local Places for Nature Fund. Our aim was to unify the last remnants of the glebe land that surrounds St David's Church on the Green and create a tapestry of local habitats for wildlife. In addition, we wanted to make the Green a pleasant place so that local residents can walk their dogs, children could play, and we could enjoy the various habitats on the Green. We surveyed the local residents and asked them what they would like to see on the Green. The feedback was really interesting. They wanted a green space that they could enjoy, where their children could play, where they could exercise their dogs. And so that shaped the application, and the raised beds, the sensory garden, the wildflower meadows and the boardwalk that you see today are all part of the feedback that the residents gave us initially at the start of our application. So our first task was to persuade the previous owners to sell us the Green, and in May 2025 we were delighted to take ownership of the Green from the previous owners. And so a hectic 6 months followed because we had to complete the project by the 8th of January 2026, and I'm delighted to say that we've achieved that. Residents have given us some very valuable feedback and strongly requested some benches on the Green, so with the summer ahead of us we thought that was a great place to start. We sourced the benches from a local supplier made of recycled plastic, which we felt resonated with the theme of the project from the outset. It was at this stage that we started working with the wonderful volunteers from Milford Youth Matters, a local youth organisation who provided volunteers to excavate the benches, the bases for the benches, and also pour the concrete and put them in place. While we were doing it, volunteers from the community centre came out with regular refreshments to keep us all going through the heat of the summer. As you can see from the footage, we inherited a pretty rough, unmanaged piece of ground, and before we did anything, we had a lot of advice and guidance from several organisations that specialise in conservation. We're so grateful to Pembrokeshire Coast National Park, to the Pembrokeshire Nature Partnership, the West Wales Biodiversity Centre, Anna Sutcliffe Ecological Services, and to Simon Richards, Head Gardener at Scolton Manor Country Park, for nurturing and supporting us through the process. It was at this stage, with so much activity on the Green, that something magical happened. All of a sudden, local residents appeared, walking their dogs, children were playing, and local residents volunteered their services to help with the work. I'm so grateful to John Anthony, who has religiously mown the paths through the Green for people to enjoy. Our local gardening club, Hubberston and Hakin Gardening Club, have been influential in the process right from the start. Through their meetings, they've hosted guest speakers, and we've held workshops on the Green to plant hanging baskets, bulbs, and the other plants that make up the different features on the Green. They undertook the initial quadrat analysis, the pH testing and the soil profiling, so that we had all the data we needed to match the wildflowers for the meadows. So once the benches had been completed in June, we turned our attention to 2 raised beds. In our application, we wanted a raised bed for the local creche children from Little Acorns Creche, and also for pupils of Gellerswick VC Primary School and their ecology club. In the spring of 2026, we will give them both a brief to create a nature garden to encourage pollinators to the green. We have wildflower seeds for them to plant so that they can observe the wildlife through the season. So another main feature of the green is the sensory garden. We're standing here in the sensory garden, and the aim of this was twofold. The first was to create another space for pollinators to be attracted to the green, and we've used plants like lavender and sage with their strong perfume to attract those pollinators to this space. The second reason was to create a space for local residents to come and sit, pause and reflect, and take a moment out of their busy lives just to appreciate the green and the peacefulness that they could find here. So on a Friday morning in the community centre, stroke victims play short mat bowls, and their carers have creative sessions as a little bit of respite and therapy. So we challenged the carers to design our sensory garden for us, and they came up with this wonderful design that you can see. Then it was over to Milford Youth Matters to take out the turf, dig the beds, and then Haken and Hubberston Gardening Club came and did the planting. And so what you see today is the product of so many people's labours, and I think we're looking forward to the spring now when all of these flowers will bloom and we can get that scent in the garden. Our local nursery, Elderflower Meadows, has supplied the planting for the green. The family has been in business for 3 generations, and their support and guidance has been invaluable to the project. So thank you so much to Margaret and Colin and David for their valuable support. So in mid to late August, the flowering species on the green had nearly completed their life cycles. We'd observed dandelions, creeping buttercup, and mid to late August saw the yarrow and the knapweed complete their flowering cycles. It was at this point that we mowed the green, we baled it, and we removed the herbage so that we could reduce the fertility for successive years to come, so that the wildflower species would be more successful. So in August, we hosted an event on the green to celebrate its purchase. We had roundabouts and bouncy castles and invited local residents to attend. We were favoured by a visit by our First Minister Eluned Morgan, who planted the mountain ash tree in our sensory garden. It was a wonderful event with the church open, the community centre open, and the green hosting families and children playing. So during the event, local children planted seeds into plug trays, and these will be nurtured and grown on by the gardening club members for planting out on the green in the spring of 2026. So once we'd completed the mowing of the wildflower meadows, we turned our attention to the construction of the boardwalk. We wanted a safe walkway across a wetland area so local residents could enjoy the flora on the wetland. Fool's watercress, hairy willow herb, all are successful in this area. The first task was to fell some ash trees with ash dieback, and we left them in place to create additional habitat for insects and invertebrates. Pupils from Gellerswick School came down and made some habitat piles, again to encourage those insects. So the construction started at the beginning of October, once an ecological survey had been carried out to make sure that nesting birds and amphibian species had completed their breeding cycles. Once the boardwalk had been completed, our army of volunteers from Milford Youth Matters and Haken and Hubberston Gardening Club put in the paths that approach and exit the boardwalk so that people could walk safely across the structure. We have a wonderful wetland area and in the spring and summer we hope that we can encourage invertebrates like dragonflies, damselflies, mayflies so that our local residents can enjoy. One of the additional features on the green is to plant some alder buckthorn to encourage the brimstone butterfly. This is one of the alder buckthorn that we've planted. It's not much to look at, but in the spring and summer of next year, this will grow and flower, and hopefully we will see some brimstone butterflies on the green. They're common in Carmarthenshire and have been seen flying through Pembrokeshire, so we are working with a number of local partners to plant alder buckthorn to try and encourage the species to come and settle on the green. In managing the wildflower meadow, we were encouraged to purchase some wildflower turf so that we could create islands of seeds in the Hubberston Green, which when they flower and seed, would populate more and more of the green over successive years. We're very grateful to Meadow Creations for supplying the turf and giving us the guidance for planting it in the autumn as we've done here.
An amazing opportunity for children to become involved in, more involved in the community. Here at Galeswick and Haken and Hubberston. The children have been down supporting in making the raised beds, and they've also been down learning about the different habitats that have been created down there, and even prompting opportunities for new habitats for all the amazing creatures that are from our local area and in our local environment. We want our children to be stewards of the planet, to be passionate about their local environment, and about looking after our world, making it a better place, not only through their relationships in the community, but looking at the environment and their impact on the environment. So being able to see something develop and grow that they've been involved in their local community is so important, because they are the next generation that, you know, won't be long and their children will be studying here in Galeswick, and it's so important that on their routes to school they can talk about their involvement they've had in their community, in developing and maintaining spaces that are really important, not just for the environment but for their own well-being and their own development, you know, to feel connected to our local area, and you know, to feel a real part of our community in that they've invested and watched things grow. It's absolutely important for children to connect with nature. Lots of our children live in flats, they don't have gardens, they don't have the opportunity to go and find green spaces or roll down a hill or run around in an open area. So incredibly important that, that we as the school link with the community to give them the opportunity to experience those natural childhood opportunities that are really important. Well, the children are really excited now to have the opportunity to continue their work in the nature garden by sowing wild flower seeds in the spring, which they can watch develop over the seasons, and also plug plants that have previously been sown, to be able to place those and watch those flourish as well. An amazing opportunity for them to see the cycle of life, you know, in a really authentic context, in something that they've made for their community that their families and other members of the community can enjoy as well.
Well, it's nice to have a patch where you can, say, leave stingy nettles or brambles or something like that, so that the bugs and the birds and all that can feed on, and then that's what keeps it going, doesn't it? And perhaps by getting the community involved, people will respect what Paul is doing and see it nice on a summer's evening, sit on the benches, look at the flowers, look at the birds coming around. So hopefully, you know, it would help people. Something like this can get children interested. They can come. You never know, perhaps in the evenings when they got nothing to do, they'll come on their own and do a couple of little things, which would be nice, and that's what you want to see, don't you? I think it's a good thing to get communities involved. Like I have garden magazines, and you see it in these cities where they take over a bit of ground and they grow veg and they give it to the people who, you know, who haven't got money and things like that, which is good, isn't it? So, and if you can do something like that, well, you're giving something back, isn't it?
I'm the project coordinator for Milford Youth Matters, which is the third sector charity based in Milford Haven. We as a youth organisation have been running youth club in Hubberston and Hakin for around 7 years now, and are really well versed in what's happening in the community and being part of the Hubberston Hakin Invest Local Forum. So the Hubberston Green project was a really unique and exciting opportunity for us to get involved and to get young people involved with nature. So initially for us it started with digging some holes for some benches, and that was great, you know. But you know, they initially started with that, and then we thought, what next? Where else is this project going? And we could see from the outset how we as an organisation could take ownership of certain aspects. So one week it was the digging hole for the benches. Then we did raised bed number 1, raised bed number 2. Then we looked at the sensory garden and digging out turf and getting that ready, really looking at that land management and giving young people and our team a unique opportunity to kind of experience something that's quite different. Whilst they felt initially, for maybe them, they were doing all the hands-on, the practical work, they were learning. And they were learning about nature, they were learning about the environment, they were, like I said, learning about land management. And what they were doing then is connecting to habitat, they were connecting to nature, and they were seeing the transient link between, if I do this in one area, how can it affect another area? Now, for us, I think the benefits for Milford Youth Matters and for young people in our community is ownership. And that's really key. One, it gives them that sense of the pride in their town, that, you know, Milford Haven, they're anchored to something special. It's theirs, it belongs to them. We've created a space for generations to come, sit, relax, watch birds, watch insects, watch butterflies. And it's a really simple thing, but actually it's a really powerful link. What else we've been able to do as well is, through the funding, is look at our skills development. And I think that's really, really important. So now the community own the land, we have a responsibility to maintain it, look after it, and sustain it. And sustainability is going to be key. Ultimately, it's just been a really great project. It's something that we never expected that we'd be involved in, but actually by giving ownership, the team have really been able to go, right, what next? What else are we doing? There's a real hidden pound to this. Yes, the project has granted X amount of funding, but the value of that funding has been 4, 5 times 6-fold because of those ripple effects. And I think it'll be really hard for everybody to actually measure and get the true depth of, you know, how much benefit has happened, because we'll have our initial outputs and outcomes, but actually the long-term, you know, investment, this is what we're seeing now, and we'll see the outcomes for 40, 50 years time. When you see, you know, like the May event, you see people around, you see the buzz, it's really hard to capture that, you know, on a bit of paper. Yes. But just seeing it, seeing the transformation of the land, seeing the hard work that people have put in, seeing the amount of, you know, white socks that we've had to wash because, you know, because now they're brown and it's full of mud, the amount of time we've had to clean boots and everything like that, you know, that there is really been part of the journey.
So we're now nearing the end of our project. We've completed our evaluation report, and we hope that this film will tell the story of the project over the last 6 to 8 months. We're so grateful to the National Heritage Lottery and to Welsh Government for funding the project, to all our wonderful volunteers, to the local residents that we've met and got to know over the course of the last 6 to 8 months, And we hope that we have created a tapestry of habitats to encourage nature to Hubberston Green, and as importantly, to create an asset for future generations where they can walk and enjoy nature in its full glory. Diolch yn fawr iawn i chi gyd. Thank you so much.